In the remote depths of Sector Zeta 9, a part of the galaxy rarely visited by humans, the cold desert planet Krivax 5 stretched endlessly with frozen plains and jagged icy canyons. The air was thin and bitterly cold, and the wind cut across the barren landscape like sharp blades. The planet seemed lifeless, but hidden within its frozen valleys were abandoned mining colonies and secret alien facilities. It was in one of these hidden places that the ruthless alien commander Vorlak Threx convened his council aboard his flagship, the Dread Harbinger. The massive ship hovered silently above Krivax 5, its dark hull reflecting the pale light of the planet's distant sun. Every creak and hiss of the vessel echoed through the command chamber, creating a sense of foreboding. Vorlak's sharp eyes scanned the holographic displays showing satellite maps of the mining colonies and human settlements nearby. He was calculating, cold, and certain of his superiority. His voice carried authority as he outlined the plan to eliminate a young human girl named Ilara Quinn, who had accidentally discovered the alien experiments on captive species. The experiments were cruel, designed to manipulate life forms for reasons no one outside the council fully understood. The aliens had assumed that secrecy and isolation made their work invisible, but Ilara had seen too much. The girl had only been exploring the icy plains out of curiosity, unaware that she had stumbled upon one of the galaxy's most dangerous conspiracies. Vorlak's advisors, high-ranking alien officers, leaned forward eagerly as he described the plan. They believed the girl was a minor problem, someone who could be removed without consequence. They spoke in clipped, precise tones, confident in their technology. Their words were cold and devoid of empathy. They did not see a child, only a variable in their calculations. As Vorlak continued, he emphasized the importance of timing and precision. The strike team would descend from the Dread Harbinger, moving silently across the frozen canyons and icy plains, avoiding detection from any human observers. Every detail was accounted for, from patrol drones scanning the ice fields to encrypted communication channels keeping their mission hidden. They believed the human fleet was far away, incapable of interfering in their remote sector. They imagined that once Ilara was gone, the incident would vanish without a trace. But they underestimated the girl's resilience. Her mind was sharp, and her instincts alive. Even as the aliens planned her death, she had begun to sense that something was wrong. The winds howled around the mining colony where she stayed, carrying an eerie tension. Each step she took on the frozen ground felt heavier, and the shadows seemed to twist with unseen movement. Yet she pressed on, driven by curiosity and the desire to explore the abandoned structures. The icy walls of the canyons glinted in the weak sunlight, reflecting strange patterns that almost seemed like warnings. Vorlak's team had calculated every obstacle, but they did not account for human ingenuity. As the council's meeting reached its peak, Vorlak's fingers tapped against the console, the holographic displays flickering slightly under the pressure of the ship's systems. He gave the final orders with precision, confident the mission would succeed. The strike team prepared, assembling their cold-weather gear and advanced weaponry, ready to move across the frozen desert planet. They left the warmth of the Dread Harbinger and stepped onto the icy surface, their boots crunching against the hard frost. The silence of Krivax 5 was broken only by the distant howl of the wind and the faint hum of their equipment. They believed they were invisible, that the planet itself would hide their actions. The frozen landscape stretched endlessly, giving the illusion of safety for those who did not know what lurked within the ice. Meanwhile, Ilara wandered closer to the mining colony's edge, unaware of the danger descending upon her. She paused to examine a broken generator, her fingers brushing against the cold metal. The sun reflected off the ice, blinding for a moment, and in that instant she felt an unease, a small whisper in her mind that something was not right. The aliens below calculated, the humans far away remained unaware, and the cold, desert planet waited silently, as if it itself knew that this day would change everything. Krivax 5 held its breath under the shadow of the Dread Harbinger, the frozen plains preparing to witness the beginning of a story that neither side could yet fully understand. The stage was set, the players ready, and the first move in this deadly game had been made. When the attack came, the icy winds of Krivax 5 bit sharply against Alara Quinn's face, making every movement a struggle. The frozen desert stretched endlessly before her as the shadow of the Dread Harbinger moved across the plains, sending patrol drones to sweep the area. She had only seconds to act. Her mind raced as she scanned the icy terrain for any possible escape routes. Among the frozen canyons, she spotted an old transport, the Nova Glider 7, partially buried in snow and ice. Its engines were cold, but she knew it was her only chance. Alara ran across the slippery surface, boots crunching on frost. Every step threatened to betray her to the drones above. The patrols were precise, scanning for movement with advanced sensors. She ducked behind icy outcrops, flattened herself against frozen walls, and moved only when the drones shifted their attention. Her heart pounded, adrenaline coursing through her veins. Each gust of wind felt like it could push her off the icy ridges into the deep frozen canyons. The Nova Glider 7's cockpit was frosted over, but she forced the door open, brushing away ice with trembling hands. The control panels flickered weakly, but she had memorized the startup sequence from a quick glance during her earlier explorations. Her fingers worked rapidly, bypassing the frozen circuits, and with a loud hiss, the engines roared to life. The glider lifted just as a patrol drone swooped near the canyon's edge, its sensors scanning the white desert below. Alara maneuvered the craft carefully, avoiding jagged ice spires that could shred the hull. The cold wind whipped around her as she gained altitude. The icy plains below seemed endless, but she could see the faint lights of the alien strike team moving across the ground. They had not expected her to escape so quickly. Their overconfidence became their weakness. As she navigated through the icy canyons, she noticed the frozen cliffs creating natural tunnels and shadows. She used these to hide from the patrol drones. Flying low and fast, she zigzagged through the jagged landscape, each maneuver bringing her closer to safety. But the cold was relentless. The ship's heating system barely kept the frost from forming on her visor. Her breath came in visible puffs, mixing with the icy air. The Dread Harbinger loomed in the sky above, massive and dark against the pale light of Krivax 5's weak sun. Its sensors scanned the ground below relentlessly, but Alara's movements were unpredictable. She dipped behind ice formations, ascended suddenly, and twisted the glider through narrow gaps. The alien strike team on the surface realized she was escaping and accelerated. Their vehicles slid across the frozen plains, trying to intercept her. Alara's mind raced, calculating each turn, each dive, using every bit of terrain to her advantage. She remembered the narrow canyon she had passed earlier, a place where the drone sensors would have difficulty tracking movement. She aimed the Nova Glider 7 toward it, sliding through the icy tunnel at high speed. The walls of ice scraped the hull slightly, sending sparks, but she maintained control. Emerging from the canyon, she saw a distant ridge that could shield her from sensors for longer. She aimed for it, banking sharply, and felt the thrill of temporary safety. But she knew the alien commander Vorlak Threx would not give up so easily. The Dread Harbinger remained overhead, directing drones and strike teams below. Alara's only hope was to reach the edge of the frozen desert and find a place to hide or call for help. As she flew, she noticed small caves in the icy cliffs, remnants of old mining operations. They could serve as temporary refuge. She guided the glider carefully, landing just inside the largest cave, its entrance hidden behind a frozen outcrop. Her heart pounded as she shut down the engines. The hum died, replaced by the sound of wind whipping outside. The cold inside the cave was less biting, but the shadows seemed alive. Every movement of ice and snow outside reminded her that danger was never far. She crouched low, watching as patrol drones passed overhead, unable to detect her hidden position. Her mind worked furiously, thinking of the next steps, of how to survive on this frozen desert planet. Every decision mattered. Every breath was precious. The escape had begun, but the battle for survival had only just started. Krivax 5's icy plains stretched endlessly, silent witnesses to her courage. Her ingenuity, bravery, and quick thinking had saved her so far. But she knew that every second brought the aliens closer, and that survival in this cold desert world would demand every ounce of her strength and intelligence. Confident that the girl had been eliminated, Vorlak Threx reported to Sector Council 7, claiming the human threat in Krivax 5 was neutralized. He spoke with arrogance, certain that his calculations were flawless and that no human could interfere in his remote sector. The council members nodded approvingly, believing the mission had succeeded without complications. They had no idea that Alara Quinn had survived the initial strike. Using her quick thinking and intimate knowledge of the icy terrain, she had managed to hide and move without detection. The frozen desert of Kravax 5 became both her shield and her weapon. The alien forces assumed the girl was vulnerable, exposed, and completely unaware of the consequences of her observations. But Alara had left subtle clues, small traces of her escape and presence. Cryptic signals, markings on ice walls, and improvised codes in old mining equipment hinted at her survival. Although the council dismissed these as random occurrences, they were evidence of a human mind thinking several steps ahead. Vorlak and his advisors continued planning, confident that the mission was complete. They underestimated not only her intelligence, but also human resilience. The frozen desert worked in Alara's favor, masking her movements and confusing alien sensors. As she navigated through icy canyons, she observed the drone's patterns, learning when and where they scanned. Every shadow became a potential hiding spot, every ridge a temporary refuge. The cold was intense, but her body had adapted to the harsh environment. She learned to move swiftly across snow and ice, leaving minimal tracks. The aliens' overconfidence created gaps in their patrols, and Alara exploited every weakness. While the council celebrated, Vorlak's strike teams grew frustrated. Unable to locate her, they began searching more aggressively. Increasingly reckless, they left behind signs of their presence, making it easier for the human fleet to track their activities later. Alara realized she needed to reach a place where she could communicate with humans. She remembered an old mining transmitter partially buried in ice. Using hand tools and careful maneuvers, she uncovered it, avoiding detection from drones. Her hands numb from cold, she worked quickly to activate the transmitter, sending out faint encrypted signals. She hoped someone in the human fleet would notice. The council believed they had eliminated the threat entirely, unaware that their arrogance had sown the seeds of their own exposure. Alara's signals were subtle but precise, using codes only humans could recognize. She provided enough information to indicate her location and the presence of alien activities. Meanwhile, Vorlak Threx and his officers continued to review maps of Kravax 5, ignoring the possibility that she had escaped. Their confidence blinded them. Each movement of their strike teams was calculated under false assumptions. They failed to consider that humans had the ability to observe patterns and respond strategically. Alara's survival depended not only on hiding, but also on misdirecting the alien forces. She left false tracks in the snow, scattered debris from old mining operations, and altered the frozen landscape in small ways to confuse scanners. Each diversion worked, prolonging her invisibility. The cold desert planet became a battlefield of wits, not weapons. The frozen canyons echoed with silence, while above, the dread harbinger continued scanning relentlessly, oblivious to the fact that Alara had already outsmarted them at every turn. Hours passed, and the council's belief in the mission's success grew. Reinforcing Vorlak's arrogance and making him blind to the growing evidence of failure, Alara, though exhausted and cold, felt a sense of empowerment, knowing that her small actions could turn the tide. Each decision, each careful step brought her closer to survival and eventual rescue. The frozen desert was harsh, unforgiving, and merciless, but it was also her ally, concealing her movements and giving her time to plan. As night fell, the icy winds howled through the canyons, and the patrol drones returned to orbit, unaware of her signals reaching human intelligence. Alara's presence remained a ghost in the frozen desert, invisible yet deadly in its implications. The council continued in their false confidence. Vorlak reassured them that the girl was gone, but the seeds of their failure had already been sown, and the human mind, resilient and determined, was already beginning to respond. Alara Quinn crouched inside the narrow cave, her breath forming small clouds in the icy air. The cold desert of Kravax 5 pressed in around her, but she felt a spark of hope as she activated the old mining transmitter. Her fingers moved quickly over the frost-covered controls, sending out faint signals encrypted with patterns only humans could decipher. Far above in orbit, the human intelligence ship HMS Resolute captained by Commander Darius Kane, detected the signals. Its sensors picked up the faint, irregular pulses, enough to indicate that someone on the planet was alive and in danger. Kane leaned over the console, his eyes narrowing as he traced the source. The information was incomplete, but it was enough to start the rescue operation. The Resolute immediately began dispatching reconnaissance drones to scan the icy plains below. Using the patterns Alara had transmitted, the drones mapped out patrol routes of the alien strike teams. Identifying weaknesses in the alien surveillance allowed the humans to plan a precise strategy. Commander Kane called Captain Celine Armitage aboard the HMS Vanguard, a heavily armed assault ship. The two discussed the best approach to secure the girl's safety and expose the alien crimes. They coordinated with the stealth frigate HMS Shadowlance, a ship designed for infiltration and electronic warfare. The human fleet moved quietly, maintaining radio silence to avoid detection. Each captain studied the signals carefully, noting the clues Alara had left about the frozen canyons, hidden tunnels, and abandoned mining colonies. The alien commander Vorlak Threx remained unaware of the human presence, believing the girl had been eliminated. He focused on celebrating his apparent success with the Sector Council 7, leaving cracks in his security measures. Alara, despite exhaustion and the biting cold, continued to monitor the area. Observing drone patrols and noting alien activity, she left false trails to mislead the search teams. Using shadows, ice formations, and abandoned equipment, she made the aliens believe she had fled in a different direction. Every action she took gave the humans more time to prepare. The HMS Resolute and its allied ships positioned themselves strategically above Krivax 5, waiting for the right moment to act. Commander Kane knew that a direct attack would be risky. The frozen desert made landings difficult, and alien sensors were highly advanced. But with Alara's guidance, they could exploit gaps in the patrols and communication networks. Using the frozen terrain to their advantage, the human ships began sending stealth drones to gather more precise intelligence. Each drone transmitted information back to the fleet, confirming Alara's location and providing detailed layouts of alien installations. The plan was to strike only when success was certain, minimizing risk to both the girl and the human ships. Alara felt a surge of relief as she realized the humans had understood her signals. She was no longer alone. The humans were coming, and she could finally hope for rescue. As night fell over Krivax 5, the icy winds howled through the canyons, carrying a sense of anticipation. The frozen plains seemed less threatening with the knowledge that help was on the way. The humans moved with calculated precision, preparing for a surgical operation. The Vanguard and Shadowlance coordinated their entry points, planning to disable alien communications and draw patrols away from Alara's hiding spot. Commander Kane double-checked every maneuver, ensuring the team would reach the girl without alerting Vorlak Threx or his strike force. The aliens, confident in their previous success, remained unaware of the approaching human fleet. Their arrogance would soon become a critical weakness. Alara crouched in the shadows, watching as the faint outlines of drones moved across the icy plains. She could see that the humans were already analyzing terrain, patrol patterns, and possible obstacles. Her knowledge of the frozen desert became their secret advantage. The humans, guided by her signals, plotted a route through narrow ice tunnels, abandoned mining shafts, and snow-covered ridges. Every move designed to avoid detection while positioning them for the rescue. Alara's heart raced with a mix of fear and hope, knowing that her actions had already changed the course of events. Krivax 5's frozen landscape, once a place of isolation and danger, was now a stage for a carefully orchestrated human operation. The girl had become the linchpin in a plan that would expose alien crimes, challenge Vorlak Threx's authority, and demonstrate the resourcefulness and courage of humanity. As dawn approached, the icy winds seemed to carry whispers of change. The humans were ready. The girl had provided the key, and the frozen desert was about to witness the beginning of a daring rescue that would turn the tide against the alien forces. Using the signals and clues provided by Alara Quinn, the human fleet began carefully planning their next move. The HMS Resolute and its allied ships, including the Vanguard and Shadowlance, analyzed every detail of Krivax 5's icy terrain and alien installations. Satellite scans revealed hidden facilities buried beneath thick ice sheets and jagged frozen canyons. The humans realized that these installations were used for the cruel experiments that Alara had witnessed. Each discovery strengthened their determination to act swiftly and precisely. Commander Darius Kane coordinated with Captain Celine Armitage to divide their forces strategically. Shadow drones were deployed first, slipping silently through the icy canyons to map patrol routes, power grids, and alien defenses. Alara guided the fleet from her hidden cave, giving exact measurements and identifying weak points in alien surveillance. Every detail she provided gave the humans a critical advantage. The Dread Harbinger, massive and ominous above the planet, remained unaware that its plans were being unraveled. The alien commander Vorlak Threx still believed the girl had been eliminated, and the human fleet was far away. His overconfidence blinded him to the patterns the humans were beginning to exploit. Using Alara's guidance, the human fleet plotted a surgical strike. Each movement designed to avoid detection while disabling key alien systems. The Shadowlance infiltrated the communication networks, silently disabling encrypted channels and jamming transmissions. The Vanguard moved into position near the primary installation, buried under a frozen plateau, its stealth technology blending perfectly with the icy landscape. The humans knew that timing would be crucial. A single mistake could alert Vorlak Threx and his strike teams, sending them into a defensive frenzy. But with Alara's first-hand knowledge of the terrain, they could anticipate patrols, frozen ridges, and hidden drone sensors. As the fleet prepared to engage, Alara used the frozen caves to her advantage, setting small diversions to mislead patrols. She created false tracks in the ice, scattered debris, and manipulated sensors in abandoned mining tunnels. Every trick drew alien forces away from the actual points of human entry. The cold desert was both a challenge and an ally, masking movements and amplifying the human stealth capabilities. Commander Kane issued the final orders. Every ship, drone, and strike team member knew their role. Precision was key. The humans launched their operation at dawn, the pale light reflecting off the icy plains of Krivax 5. Shadow drones swept ahead, silently disabling power nodes and surveillance devices. The Vanguard led the main assault, skimming low across frozen ridges to avoid detection. The Shadowlance infiltrated the alien communication network, cutting off Vorlak's ability to coordinate his teams effectively. The alien forces were caught off guard. Their arrogance and overconfidence had blinded them to the possibility of a human counterattack. Alara watched from her hiding place as patrols reacted to the diversions she had set. Confused and misled, alien teams spread thin, leaving the installations vulnerable. Using every ounce of her knowledge of the frozen terrain, she guided the humans through hidden pathways. Snow tunnels, ice-covered ventilation shafts, and abandoned mining shafts became secret corridors for the assault teams. Every move had been anticipated, every risk calculated. The humans advanced systematically, neutralizing drones and securing access points to the primary facility. The cruelty of the experiments, the alien manipulations, and the hidden crimes of Vorlak Threx were revealed as human intelligence recorded every action. Evidence of the atrocities was collected, ensuring accountability. The Dread Harbinger above finally detected anomalies, but it was too late. The humans had disabled communication networks, and the strike teams were already deep within the alien installations. Alara's courage and guidance had turned the tide. Her knowledge of the frozen desert, the hidden passages, and patrol patterns gave humanity the edge. The alien commander realized too late that his arrogance had been his greatest mistake. Vorlak's forces scrambled in confusion, trying to defend the installations. But the humans were already in control. Each frozen canyon, each ice ridge, became a stage for the carefully executed plan. The humans moved with precision, combining stealth, intelligence, and strategy. The frozen desert planet that had seemed so harsh and desolate became a battlefield of wit and skill. Every decision, every maneuver, brought them closer to securing Alara and exposing Vorlak Threx's crimes. The humans had transformed a dangerous and remote icy world into a controlled operation, showing that planning, intelligence, and courage could overcome even the most fortified alien defenses. As the sun reflected off the icy plains, the first wave of the human counterstrike succeeded. The alien installations were compromised, patrols disrupted, and the path to Alara and justice was opening. Krivax Five's frozen deserts bore silent witness to the unfolding of a daring, precise, and heroic human operation. At dawn, the human fleet moved with precision across the frozen plains of Krivax 5. The HMS Resolute hovered silently above the icy desert, its sensors scanning for the remaining alien patrols. The Vanguard and Shadowlance followed carefully planned routes, using the frozen ridges and canyons as natural cover. Alara Quinn guided them from her hidden cave, pointing out weak spots in patrol patterns and areas where alien surveillance was sparse. Every step had been calculated. Every decision weighed for maximum effect. The Dread Harbinger, massive and imposing above the planet, had remained confident in Vorlak Threx's strategy. But the human operation moved with a speed and precision he had not anticipated. Shadow drones were the first to act, silently disabling communication relays, power nodes, and drone sensors scattered across the icy terrain. This created confusion among Vorlak's patrol teams. They scrambled to respond, but the humans had already set the next phase in motion. The Vanguard swooped low over ice ridges, its stealth systems masking it against the pale light of Krivax 5's distant sun. Strike teams prepared to land in abandoned mining shafts and frozen canyons, every unit trained and ready for infiltration. Their mission was clear: secure Alara, neutralize alien defenses, and gather evidence of the crimes committed. Vorlak Threx had not anticipated this level of coordination. He barked orders from the Dread Harbinger, directing his strike teams to intercept the human ships. But without communication, his forces moved blindly, reacting to false signals and decoys. Alara had created. The frozen desert worked to the humans' advantage, its ice ridges, jagged cliffs, and snow tunnels concealing their approach. Every maneuver used the terrain strategically, turning the harsh environment into an ally. As the human forces advanced, the alien patrols grew frantic, sliding across frozen plains, trying to locate the attackers. Their confusion increased when several patrol units were intercepted silently by shadow drones. Patience and timing were critical. The humans avoided direct confrontation until the key installations were reached. The frozen mining facilities, once guarded with confidence, were now vulnerable. Strike teams moved through narrow ice tunnels and ventilation shafts, disabling security systems and neutralizing alien guards with precise efficiency. Alara observed from her cave as the operation unfolded. Her guidance had allowed humans to anticipate Vorlak's every move. Each patrol misdirected, each sensor disabled, brought them closer to securing her safety. The Dread Harbinger finally detected anomalies and unleashed a fleet of drones. But the human ships were already positioned to counter them. The Shadowlance engaged electronic warfare, jamming communication signals, while the Vanguard used targeted strikes to prevent reinforcements from reaching the icy installations. The alien forces struggled to adapt, their arrogance and overconfidence crumbling under the humans' calculated assault. As human strike teams infiltrated the primary alien installation, they discovered evidence of the cruel experiments, capturing data and samples to expose Vorlak Threx's crimes to the galaxy. The frozen desert echoed with the sound of controlled chaos, drones zipping through ice canyons, engines humming, and alarms blaring from compromised alien systems. Alara, though still in hiding, felt a surge of hope. The humans had turned the icy world into a battlefield they controlled. Their tactics, combined with her knowledge of the terrain, ensured minimal risk to her safety. Vorlak Threx, realizing too late that his plans had failed, tried to rally his forces. But the human fleet had already taken control of key positions. The frozen plains that had once been his advantage now became a trap for his scattered teams. Every ridge, every canyon, every icy outcrop had been exploited by the humans. The Vanguard secured the main facility, while the Shadowlance continued electronic disruption, ensuring that no communication could restore order to the alien forces. The strike teams moved quickly, evacuating evidence and neutralizing resistance. Krivax 5's frozen deserts witnessed a battle of strategy and intelligence rather than brute force. The human fleet had demonstrated that careful planning, adaptability, and courage could overcome even the most fortified alien defenses. By the time the Dread Harbinger tried to intervene directly, the primary operations had succeeded. The alien commander's arrogance and underestimation of human capability had cost him control of the icy battlefield. Alara's role had been critical. Her knowledge of patrols, terrain, and hidden paths had turned the tide. The frozen desert that had seemed hostile and unyielding had become the stage for a precise, decisive, and victorious human counterstrike. Krivax V's icy winds howled over the conquered installations, silent witnesses to the triumph of intelligence, strategy, and human resilience. Every move made by the humans demonstrated their ability to turn even the harshest and most alien terrain into an advantage. The battle for Krivax 5 was over, the alien defenses neutralized, and Alara was finally within reach of rescue. The frozen plains of Krivax 5 were quiet now, the chaos of battle fading as the human forces secured every alien installation. Alara Quinn emerged carefully from her hiding place, her eyes scanning the icy canyons for any remaining threats. The human strike teams moved with precision, gathering evidence of the cruel experiments and alien operations. The HMS Resolute hovered above, drones mapping the terrain and ensuring no hidden patrols remained. Commander Darius Kane coordinated the operation with unwavering focus. Every detail confirmed, every team accounted for. The alien commander Vorlak Threx had been captured, his arrogance and overconfidence finally undone by the careful strategy and skill of the humans. The news of the alien crimes began to spread across neighboring sectors, including Sector Delta 12 and Sector Omega 3. Humans in distant colonies monitored transmissions and intercepted reports of the operation. Shocked at the level of precision and coordination, they watched as the evidence revealed the true scope of Vorlak Threx's atrocities. Alara, though exhausted, felt a sense of triumph. Her survival, her quick thinking, and her guidance had been critical to the mission's success. The frozen desert planet that had once been a place of fear and danger now bore witness to human resilience and ingenuity. The human strike teams documented everything meticulously, every frozen corridor, every abandoned mining shaft, and every alien laboratory photographed, scanned, and recorded. The evidence would leave no doubt of the crimes committed by Vorlak Threx and his council. The capture of the Dread Harbinger's crew ensured that the Interstellar Council could hold the alien forces accountable. Across the galaxy, news of the operation spread quickly. Humans and alien societies alike witnessed the consequences of underestimating humanity. The courage of a single girl had sparked a series of events that exposed a criminal empire. Alara became a symbol of resilience, her story inspiring humans in colonies far beyond Krivax 5. Citizens and soldiers alike marveled at how one human could influence the course of events in a distant and hostile sector. Commander Kane ensured Alara's safety. The strike teams escorted her carefully back to the HMS Resolute, shielding her from any remaining threats. Aboard the ship, she could finally rest, knowing the immediate danger had passed. The icy winds of Krivax 5 howled across the plains below, but inside the human fleet, there was a sense of calm and accomplishment. Captain Celine Armitage reviewed the data collected from the operation. Her expression serious, but satisfied. The evidence would provide a complete record of the alien crimes, making it impossible for Vorlak Threx or any of his allies to escape justice. The Interstellar Council would have the proof needed to issue sentences and dismantle the alien networks responsible for the experiments. Alara watched from the observation deck as the icy planet slowly receded from view. Its frozen canyons and plains no longer a prison, but a place that had tested her courage and determination. The human fleet moved in coordinated formation, every ship playing its role, every crew member aware of the significance of their mission. The frozen desert of Krivax 5 had witnessed strategy, courage, and intelligence triumph over brutality and arrogance. Vorlak Threx and his officers had underestimated humans at every turn, and their arrogance had led to their downfall. As the fleet left orbit, the evidence collected ensured that Vorlak's crimes would be known throughout the galaxy. No sector could ignore what had happened. The operation proved that humanity would not be intimidated, nor would it allow injustice to go unpunished. Alara's survival and guidance had turned the tide, showing that one person's courage could influence the outcome of a battle spanning thousands of kilometers of frozen desert. Back aboard the Resolute, she finally allowed herself a moment of relief. The crew celebrated quietly, knowing their careful planning had prevented unnecessary loss of life and secured the evidence needed to hold the aliens accountable. Across sectors and star systems, transmissions spread the news. The story of Krivax 5 became a symbol of human strength, courage, and intelligence. Alara's role was recognized as vital, her quick thinking and bravery praised in reports that would be archived for generations. The frozen desert, once hostile and unyielding, had witnessed the beginning of a story that would inspire humans across the galaxy. Humanity had acted decisively, strategically, and with compassion, proving that even in the face of the most advanced alien forces, determination and intelligence could prevail. The girl who had been hunted had become a beacon of hope, and Krivax 5's icy plains stood silent, a testament to the courage and ingenuity that had changed the course of history. Vorlak Threx and his conspirators were finally brought before the Interstellar Council of Justice. Their massive flagship, the Dread Harbinger, had been decommissioned, stripped of all operational systems, and its crew detained. The frozen desert planet Krivax 5 lay behind them, silent witness to the events that had unfolded. Humanity's careful planning, courage, and intelligence had turned a hostile environment into a decisive victory. Alara Quinn, though still weary from her ordeal, was hailed as a hero. Her survival, quick thinking, and guidance had not only saved her life, but had ensured that Vorlak's crimes would be exposed to the galaxy. The council chambers were filled with representatives from countless sectors, each watching closely as evidence gathered from Krivax 5 was displayed. Holographic recordings of the alien experiments, surveillance logs, and intelligence data left no room for doubt. The severity of the crimes became clear. Vorlak Threx and his officers had manipulated and experimented on countless species, violating interstellar laws and committing atrocities. Sentences were passed swiftly. The conspirators would face imprisonment, fines, and permanent removal of command privileges. Their fleets were dismantled, their operations terminated, and any technology they had developed for illegal purposes was confiscated. Humanity's role in the operation was praised throughout the council. Commander Darius Kane and Captain Celine Armitage received commendations for their leadership and strategic planning. The stealth operations, precise maneuvers, and coordinated strikes had minimized casualties while securing the alien evidence. Alara stood beside them, still in disbelief that her small actions had contributed so significantly. Her eyes wandered to the frozen plains of Krivax 5. Imagining the icy canyons, the jagged ridges, and the tunnels that had been her refuge. The frozen desert that had once seemed so hostile now symbolized human resilience and ingenuity. Across the galaxy, reports of the operation spread quickly. Citizens in distant colonies and sectors marveled at how a single human had survived against the most dangerous alien forces and played a crucial role in exposing their crimes. Alara's story inspired confidence and hope, reinforcing the idea that even the most remote or hostile worlds could be navigated and understood with courage, intelligence, and careful planning. The human fleet, including the HMS Resolute, Vanguard, and Shadow Lance, returned to friendly space, carrying not only the rescued girl, but also the hard evidence of the alien atrocities. The frozen desert planet had been reclaimed, and its secrets revealed. The interstellar community recognized that underestimating humanity was a grave mistake. One young girl had faced the deadliest of adversaries and survived, changing the course of history for countless sectors. In the following days, humans and allies worked to rebuild the affected regions of Krivax 5, ensuring that the research and experimentation facilities could never be used for cruelty again. Plans were made to transform the icy deserts into monitored zones, safeguarding both species and resources. Alara, now under protective supervision, reflected on the journey. The terror, the escape, the strategic guidance, and finally the rescue had tested her endurance and intelligence to the limit. Yet she had succeeded, demonstrating the indomitable spirit of humanity. Vorlak Threx's downfall became a cautionary tale. His arrogance and underestimation of human capability had cost him everything. Fleet commanders across alien sectors studied the operation, learning the importance of strategy, intelligence, and respect when dealing with humans. Humanity had proven that courage, precision, and ingenuity could overcome even the most technologically advanced adversaries. The frozen desert of Krivax 5, once a place of fear and isolation, now stood as a symbol of triumph, resilience, and justice. Alara's survival and leadership had not only saved her life, but had ensured that the galaxy witnessed the consequences of cruelty and arrogance. The story of Kryvax 5 spread across sectors as a lesson, emphasizing that humanity would never tolerate injustice and would act decisively when confronted with threats. As Alara prepared to leave the icy planet behind, she felt a sense of closure. The cold desert that had tested her in every way had also highlighted the strength and courage that humans could display. Her journey had inspired fleets, colonies, and generations to come. The Interstellar Council of Justice commended all involved, ensuring that the criminals faced appropriate consequences. And as humanity returned to its stations, the message was clear. Underestimating humans would always be a fatal mistake. Kryvax 5 remained silent and frozen, but its story would echo throughout the galaxy as a testament to the courage, strategy, and resilience of a determined people.